Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a comparison between two of my favorite minimal travel bags, the Patagonia Mini MLC and the Evergoods CTB26. Both of these are some of the most well-rounded bags that I've had a chance to test out. I've used them a bunch over the past year on a variety of trips. Either is going to be a fantastic option, but there are some similarities and differences that might make one better for you depending on your needs, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Before doing so, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, both of these have a pretty subdued and minimal appearance that's going to allow them to blend in well into a variety of environments. I like that they're not super technical or outdoorsy looking. They don't have a ton of straps, attachment points, webbing, but they also aren't super techy or sleek. It doesn't feel like they're going to draw a lot of attention to themselves. The big exception, of course, here is the Patagonia logo across the front, which is definitely not as subdued as I would typically like on the branding front. This is something that I've called out in the videos that I've done for the bag. The rest of it is so good that I'm willing to overlook it, and particularly in this black colorway, it doesn't stand out as much, but it's something that I felt I had to call out compared to the more minimal branding style of Evergoods. You know, they have their little logo down at the bottom with the hook and loop backing, and I'm just a huge fan of the subtlety of this logo. I love the fact that it's kind of like a checkbox and that you can customize it, and it just is not, you know, as prominent as the Patagonia logo. But beyond that, both of them really versatile. I've used them on a ton of different styles of trips, and you know, it's also helpful if you want to use them as more of an EDC bag when they have this type of an appearance. As far as the materials, both of them are very solidly built. The Mini MLC is made out of kind of a recycled nylon. It's got this ripstop sort of patterning along the front. I like that it's pretty flexible, so it'll mold around all the items that are on the inside. It's going to offer a nice amount of weather resistance. The CTB26 is made out of Evergoods' 420D high tenacity nylon. Both of them feel like they're going to hold up well to rougher usage. I haven't had any issues with either one. The 420D on the Evergoods, also not super rigid. So, you know, a lot of the same benefits here. This is also going to offer a good amount of weather resistance, and both of them have, you know, very smooth and reliable YKK zippers all throughout. Continuing along the exterior, both of them offer a nice amount of functionality. As far as water bottle pockets, they each have external water bottle pockets. The CTB26 is going to have a little bit of an edge here. First off, because it has two, so it has one on each side, which is of course going to give you some additional storage space and flexibility. And the style of Evergoods' water bottle pockets is just really tough to beat. They've done such a great job on these. They're able to hold a large water bottle. They have drainage at the bottom, and so just really, really useful. The Mini MLC has one pocket on the side, so it doesn't have two like the CTB. This offers a nice amount of space and flexibility. It hugs the bag when it's not in use. It just doesn't feel quite as durable and premium as the Evergoods style, but still glad that it's included here. Then you have a variety of attachment points and webbing on both sides of the MLC. But where you don't have the water bottle pocket, you do have a really nice handle if you're carrying this like a briefcase, and then some additional rows of webbing. With the CTB26, you also have handle on one of the sides, which will allow you to carry it like a briefcase. Then you have the handles at the top. The style here is a little bit different, with the Evergoods bag having the aluminum stays to give just a little bit more kind of sturdiness to the handle, but I actually find the MLCs to be more comfortable over the longer term, you know, if I'm holding the bag a good amount, because it's just softer. But they're both, you know, really great. The Evergoods bag has a couple of attachment points near the handle, and then the Mini MLC has some loops along the front, which can be useful for clipping on additional accessories or pairing with a variety of compression straps is what I've used these for. And so great to have them, and also nice that it's just a couple of attachment points along the corners, not, you know, rows of webbing. So it still strikes that good balance of functional but minimal. One additional thing to note while we're talking about the exterior is that both of these do a pretty good job of standing up on their own, particularly when the weight is well distributed. So, if you have the front loaded out a little bit more, they can tend to tip, but generally, especially when I've been traveling, it's been great to be able to place these down next to me when I'm, waiting for my flight and use all the organization that's provided. They do a pretty good job as far as doing that consistently enough for me. And then taking a look at the capacity, the CTB26, as the name implies, is going to come in at 26 liters, and then the Mini MLC is listed at 30 liters. And so it is going to be able to hold a little bit more, but it doesn't look that much bigger than the CTB26. The way that the silhouette is done, it's not quite as wide, or it doesn't feel as wide as the CTB. It's a little more, feels taller. I don't know if it's actually taller, but it just feels that way. It looks that way. But both of these offer like a great balance as far as lots of carrying capacity without an overwhelmingly large silhouette. So that's what makes them awesome for minimal travel. I've been able to use both of these as a personal item on a variety of domestic and international airlines. So even the Mini MLC, which at 30 liters is a little bit bigger, has been able to slide in comfortably under the seat. Both of these, when they're packed out, still maintain a pretty slim profile, so they never look overwhelmingly bulky, which always helps. And although they're slightly larger for EDC, I have gotten away with using them for that use case as well if I'm traveling and I just don't want to take an additional bag. So really love the versatility on the size for both of them. Moving into the harness systems, overall, both of these have been really comfortable to wear. There are some interesting differences between the two. On the Evergoods side, I've always really liked their harness systems. I think that the padding that they offer is pretty good. It's robust. I'm a fan of the style at the top that kind of curves around your shoulders. And then, they both offer an adjustable and removable sternum strap. One thing that I always call out with the Evergoods bags is that a lot of people call out that the bottom of the bag can dig in uncomfortably into people's back. I've never had that issue, but it's something to note if you're unsure and you want something that might, just be a little bit more flexible. That's where you might want to take a look at the MLC. Don't have that issue on the bottom. The straps on this one are quite comfortable, and I actually really like the breathable mesh that's included here. They don't feel as thick or robust as the CTB26, so that's something to keep in mind. I do feel like the CTB26 is just a little bit more rugged, thicker, and then they also have the pass-through for the hydration bladder, which the Mini MLC does not have, but offers a nice amount of breathability. And then one thing with the MLC is this is a convertible bag, so you have the ability to actually hide the straps away if you want to just make it easier to toss into an overhead storage area. And the bag also includes a waist belt that is nice if you want that additional support while you're carrying this bag, but you can also use the waist belt as a shoulder strap, which I've always thought is a really clever solution. So a little bit more flexibility with how you can carry the Mini MLC compared to the CTB. And then on the back panel, nice amount of breathability and padding on both of them. As far as the style of the padding that's included, I tend to prefer the Mini MLC's just style a little bit more. This is just the kind of feeling that I like out of the padding, but I'm very happy to use either one of them. And then they both have a luggage pass-through, so you can rest this on a suitcase while traveling. That works pretty well. I really like Evergoods' implementation of the luggage pass-through, both for the space and the security it offers, but also because of the orientation of the laptop compartment, which I'll take a closer look at in a second. But paired with how this rests on your suitcase, it's just easier to get to your laptop versus the way that it's implemented on the MLC. Jumping into the organizational options, both of these offer a nice variety of pockets throughout. The layout on the CTB26 is best in class. It's really tough to beat. I absolutely love how the pockets are laid out in this bag, but the Mini MLC is no slouch in this regard either. So as far as quick access, both of them have quick access pockets at the top, which is really critical for me for day-to-day and for travel. And it's a good amount of capacity. The one on the MLC is, right kind of at the top. It does eat into the main compartment a bit, so that's something I'll showcase later in the video, and that you'll have to keep in mind as you're loading everything out. But so far, I really haven't had issues actually being able to use it. It's got a good amount of depth. And then the one on the CTB is the Evergoods yoke style compartment that offers just an incredible amount of space without eating into the main compartment. So for both of these, I'll typically use it for my sunglasses, for my headphones, and so absolutely love that. But then for the CTB, you have some additional external organization, which is really helpful. So on the front, you have the zippered kind of admin compartment. This is oriented so that you can swing the bag around, or if you're carrying it like a briefcase, you can easily reach in. This offers its own dedicated volume, so it'll be able to hold a pouch or something a little bit bulkier. And then on the inside, you have zippered mesh compartment, a couple of slip pockets for your mouse or cables or anything like that, and then a little lanyard with a carabiner for your keys. And you also have another quick access pocket on the front, which is distinct to the CTB line. And this is one of the best additions that Evergoods has had to their bags. This pocket is so useful. It's deceptively large, and it's going to be able to handle pouches very, very well. Here I have the Evergoods Civic Access Pouch 0.5 liters, which just fits in there perfectly, but I've often used this for my toiletries, for larger laptop and charging blocks. And you can use this comfortably without eating into the main space. And moving into the laptop and tech areas, as I was mentioning earlier, the CTB26 has this side access laptop area. Lots of space here. It can hold a 15 or 16-inch laptop comfortably, suspended, well padded. You have this little Velcro strap to help secure your device. You also have enough space in here to place a tablet or a folder with some documents. On the MLC, you do have a dedicated laptop area, which is great. This one has kind of the travel layout where it opens up flat, which I generally am not that crazy about. I don't like opening the compartment up all the way. So, that's something I can take it or leave it, but the protection that's offered is still pretty good. You have a dedicated tablet sleeve that has some padding here, so it's not just a simple slip pocket, and then the laptop sleeve on the back that also has a Velcro strap. Vertical orientation here, so when the bag is just sitting next to me, I actually like this layout more. But when it's on the luggage handle, this can be a little bit less easy to get your device, so that's where Evergoods really did a good job. But I like that you have the dual padded sleeves here. This one is also suspended off the bottom of the ground, so they both offer a good amount of protection. And then on the Mini MLC, you have some of the additional organization kind of condensed into this area. So you have a zippered mesh compartment for your chargers, a couple of elastic slip pockets here, some pen slots, clip for your keys, slip pockets. So even though it doesn't go overboard with organization, it's very well thought out on the MLC. I've really enjoyed using that layout throughout my trips. And then taking a look at the main compartments, both of these have a clamshell style opening. Really like the beefy YKK zipper here on the Mini MLC. So very easy to load the bags out and pack them, whether it's for travel or for your day-to-day. So you can get a sense of the main compartments. And this is really where kind of the simplicity of the MLC, as well as the additional space that it offers, will really start to become apparent. You have, for the main area, this zippered mesh divider that will help keep everything in place, especially if you don't use packing cubes. This can help provide some organization. And so opening this up, now you can see them side by side. And as I was calling out earlier, you can kind of get a sense here of the width of the CTB26. So the Mini MLC to me just feels a little less wide, which might impact how it looks on your back. So you'll want to really keep that in mind. And then currently I have the MLC packed out for travel, and I have the CTB with a more traditional EDC loadout. This will easily fit into the MLC. I will switch the packing cubes over in a second, but just to kind of showcase my loadout here, it really fits quite easily. I have an extra pair of shoes, I have my DOP kit, I have the smaller Peak Design packing cube, which doesn't always fit in some of these more minimal sized travel bags, and I have the larger Peak Design compression packing cube. And even with all those items in there, the bag never felt overly stuffed, which is great to see. And then pretty simple layout here, no compression straps or anything like that. And a cool thing is that you do have the ability to roll this divider up, and there's a little sleeve at the bottom once you do so, to kind of just keep it out of the way. So if you do want to use the bag more for your day-to-day, it's nice to be able to kind of keep that out of the way, and then you just have pretty much a clamshell style bag that will be able to handle the pouches and other gear that are currently in the CTB. So here I have my packable rain jacket, an Air Tech pouch, my Beats Studio wireless headphones, and then I have my 2 Evergoods pouches, the Civic Access pouch 2 liter, the 1 liter, and there's more than enough leftover space for something else if I'd want to use it. One last thing here on this main storage area for the Mini MLC. As I mentioned earlier, the quick access pocket does come into this space, so if you load this out with something a little bit bulkier, it'll take up some of the volume, but again, haven't really run into any issues with that, especially with the amount of space that's provided. It all just kind of fits in there very comfortably. And then putting the packing cubes into the CTB, this setup pretty much fits the same. So you have the larger cube, you have the smaller Peak Design cube, so those sit in there comfortably. And then because this one isn't as tall, it doesn't feel like you have as much kind of leftover space here, but I can still place my shoes here at the bottom and then the dop kit, and it's still able to close comfortably. So even though on, dimension wise it's a little bit smaller, it's able to handle about the same very comfortably. And then on the back side of this one, of course, you have the webbing that you can use to attach additional things. I don't use this very much. And then you have an additional sleeve in this area that can be used to separate out maybe a tablet, some other clothes, folders, documents. So just simple but useful layout here. And then both of them have some additional organization on the lids. So just some more zippered pocketing. We'll flip them around so you can get a better look at those. And I think that both do a good job here of providing independent volume of these pockets, which is where many of these kind of fall flat. They're hard to use because if you put something here, it's gonna bulge inwardly and kind of collide with the stuff that's in the main compartment. But the Mini MLC kind of takes a page out of Evergoods' book here, and the volume kind of expands outwardly to this front area. So you can use this for a good amount of stuff and still have space in the main area. You have one that doesn't have any mesh, so it'll offer a little bit more kind of privacy if you have medicines or you want to use it as an additional packing cube for your underwear and socks. I've done that with that pocket. And then you have an additional mesh pocket here that I've used for other tech accessories, small items that I want to be able to access easily. One thing to note is the orientation of these zippers. So again, like Evergoods, providing some access if you're opening this from the side. If you're carrying it like a briefcase or wearing it as a shoulder bag, you can pretty easily reach these pockets as well. So nice kind of thoughtful detail on the Evergoods side and nice thoughtful detail on the Patagonia side. And then with the CTB, the same layout that we've seen in so many of Evergoods' videos now that I've featured. So you have the mesh larger pocket on the bottom with the vertical orientation so that you can access it from the side. Independent volume that doesn't impede your use of the front pockets. So just really great design there. And then at the top you have the smaller zippered pocket. And inside here you have a couple of slip pockets. So, Evergoods offering maybe some slight additional organizational features, but in general, pretty similar layouts, which I think is great because it's an effective one that I've used in so many situations and I've been a big fan of. So just really a great job from both bags of offering a functional and useful design. And as far as, which one is going to be best for you, a couple of things that I would keep in mind. The CTB26, in my opinion, has a layout that's going to work a little bit better for EDC with the additional pocketing and just how things are laid out. It's probably the one that I would gravitate towards too if I felt like my use case was going to be more EDC focused, whereas the Mini MLC I feel is a little bit stronger as a minimal travel bag. Just the space that it offers, the flexibility, the silhouette, especially since it's not as wide, it really just manages to squeeze into more areas than you would expect while providing so much space. And so for a travel kind of personal item size, I still tend to gravitate a little bit more towards this one. On the durability front, I would say that the Evergoods bags feel, in general, a little bit more rugged. On the harness system, you just feel like it's gonna offer a little bit more if their harness works for you, right? That's the big asterisk with the Evergoods bag. So if you feel like it'll work for you, and you also are okay with paying a little bit of a higher price, because that's the other aspect of the Evergoods bag, is they do come in at a slightly higher price than the Mini MLC. I think it's worthwhile. You get a lot for that additional pricing, but it is something to keep in mind. So that's not an issue. If you want the EDC focus, some additional organization, I think the Evergoods is probably gonna be the way to go. If you wanna be travel focused, you're not quite gonna be using it as much for EDC, or if you're a fan of Patagonia's bags or you wanna save a little bit of money, then this one may be the better option to take a look at. And so that's it. Those are some of the similarities and differences between the Patagonia Mini MLC and the Evergoods CTB26. Hopefully this video was helpful, and if you have any questions on anything that we discussed in the video or suggestions for similar items that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I'll make sure to include links in the description below to the dedicated reviews that I've done for each of these bags, as well as to some of the comparison videos that I've done recently where I compare the CTB26 with the Evade 1.5 Full from Alpha 19er. I've also done some comparisons with the Air Travel Pack 3 Small, and I'll also link to some of the roundup videos that I've done where I share my favorite EDC and laptop backpacks, some of my favorite travel bags. And if you have suggestions for other comparison or roundup videos that I should take a look at, definitely let me know about those as well. And as always, I want to thank you for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.